Alrighty, what's up guys? As you can see, we're in the gym right now training the legs, but the video title is of course a full day of eating. So we're training right now, it's the early morning, so I haven't had breakfast yet, which is an important part of full day of eating. So what did I do? I had an Isoclear shake, as you can see right here. So before going to the gym, I of course won't be entirely fasted, but I'll actually have a protein shake, not a whey concentrate shake, but a whey isolate shake, and that is called Isoclear. So it's an isolate shake, but kind of like a protein lemonade, which is why it's called Isoclear. It kind of, if you put it in a glass, you can actually see through it. It's transparent. It's always fruity flavor, and this is one of my favorites, peach ring flavor. So I'm drinking 40 grams of this before going to the gym. As we are in a full day of eating right now, this is of course the first thing I'm actually ingesting that is macro wise. So of course we always weigh it out. I like to go for 40 grams of whey Isoclear. This smells really good, and one more reason, if you compare this to regular isolate, it's a bit thicker. This is really thin, so it doesn't sit in your stomach at all, which gives for a great workout, no distractions during a leg day. So 40 grams of that in here, just like that. It's about an hour before the training, 40 grams of whey isolate going down. Anyway, let's continue the workout. Okay, now with that out of the way, finish this training really quick with the power of editing, and see you at the post-workout victory meal. Okay, finally we are done with the leg workout, and especially on this day, food, nutrition, getting the energy in is very important. So you saw me drinking from that big tub before in the workout. Now that is actually the intra-workout right here, delicious flavored. Now this was peach iced tea flavor, and I combined it with some collagen peptides. So why am I showing you this, even though it's not really a meal but supplements, because it has calories. So this actually has carbohydrates and EAAs, but I mainly just count the carbohydrates. So I had 60 grams of this powder, which is 30 grams of carbs, which are part of the total calories for the day. So we're gonna tally up all the calories today, all the macronutrients, the protein, carbs and fats, and the fiber as well, very important. So you guys know exactly what I'm eating on a leg day to grow, as this is the push phase, the off season to make progress for the next competition. Ooh, the victory post-workout meal base. So this, what is it? Exactly 170 grams of rice pudding or rice flour. So I always take this with me in a Tupperware container, mixed up with 6 grams of flavor powder. This one is speculoos flavor, aka speculaas for the Dutch people. That gives it an incredible flavor, as rice flour or rice pudding is neutral flavor, so you can add flavors that you want, and this one is incredible. I also put in some psyllium husk, some salt, some cinnamon, and you can see a little bit here, some dark chocolate. I put it in there as well, so when you put it then in a microwave, it melts nicely throughout this meal. So this is the base, but on top of the base is going to be something very important. Layer 1 will be the frozen fruit. Regardless of how voluminous my meals get or how much I have to eat, I won't complain about adding fruits and vegetables to my diet. A lot of bodybuilders skip this part, but fruits, as an example, contain fiber to lower LDL cholesterol for health, micronutrients to enhance your metabolism, and polyphenols to increase the anti-inflammatory effects on the body. All 3 things you need to be healthy and successful in bodybuilding. And it also contains carbohydrates, so a win-win situation. And it's actually a win-win-win situation, as it creates a frozen layer, a nice cold layer, to go below the whey drip. Now this whey drip is actually a combination of iso whey, Honestly, I used designer whey the whole time. So the difference is this is isolate. So it's an isolated whey form from whey concentrate, which means more protein, less fats, less carbohydrates. So if you want the pure sort of protein, the whey isolate is your bang for your buck. But I also combine it with a little bit of designer whey to get that creaminess going, but you won't really need it. But after a workout, I always go for the maximum amount of protein. So here we actually have 75 grams of total whey, 50 grams whey isolate, 15 grams of the designer whey to create this incredible whey drip. Now, why do you need protein after a workout? We literally just ripped the muscle cells apart. We broke them down, or to make them grow, you simply need building blocks, which the only building blocks in your diet are comprised of protein. So you can eat all the carbs and all the fats you want. Without protein, you will not gain muscle. So the ultimate combination after a workout, you should have then your biggest meal with the most carbohydrates and also plenty of protein to have that combination of energy and building blocks to actually progress from your workouts. As today was a leg day, the most important workout day for me of the week. So that's when you need the optimum nutrition. Because this is my first real meal, and with your first meal you should have supplements, because with a protein shake some won't be absorbed quite as easily. So I like to go the most important ones, the omega-3 and the magnesium post-workout with ashwagandha. Ashwagandha lowers cortisol levels, and it makes sure that the amount of stress induced by the workout will be lowered. So now we already put all the stress into the workout, and now we can relax nicely. And what helps with that to lower anxiety is the ashwagandha. So down that goes, the essentials right there. Easy peasy. And now it's time to enjoy the post-workout meal. Alright guys, time for meal number 2. So this is kind of the post-workout meal. And these are called the Victory Muffins, with the exact same macros as my Victory breakfast usually. So normally I would have this as a breakfast, but now I'm having it as a post-workout meal. So the meal after the post-workout meal. And there are going to be muffins in this beautiful silicone muffin tin. As you can see, you can just pop them out like that. It's very easy, but you will see exactly how that's going to go. So I have a few ingredients here, which are combined very delicious. So we're first going to start with the liquid egg whites. 200 mils, 200 grams. We also need a whole egg. I made the mistake by making it too healthy by removing all the fats. So only egg whites, but you get kind of rubbery muffins. So just adding one egg makes a huge difference. And this is a really typical Dutch thing, magere kwark, aka quark, or you can compare it to Greek yogurt 0%. So we're gonna put about 100 grams in there. And this will also give it kind of a moist texture. Because if you only put egg whites in there and one egg, you still get a bit of a, more of a firm texture rather than a more of a moist one. And that's what you want with a muffin. And, all the ingredients I'm adding are really bodybuilding staple food, such as this. I used to eat this like as it is, like every single day, as like my last meal of the day with like a few nuts in there, a little bit of fruit in there. A lot of bodybuilders still do this, as it's one of the cheapest protein sources you can get in the Netherlands. It's very easy to get your protein in with almost no additional macronutrients, so just a bit of carbs, which in the off season is never a bad thing to add. The next liquidy thing, kind of in between, will be the pumpkin. Now this might be a strange one to you guys, but it also, I love vegetables, as you guys know. So whenever I can add vegetables in a meal like this, because there will be less fruits in this one, it's a nice one. It adds some fiber, it adds some sweetness, and once again that moisture you want to your muffin to make it taste very nice. This is obviously pre-cooked pumpkin, so I just put this in a crock pot as a whole, 30 minutes, and you got like over a kilo of pumpkin to go. And then put it in the shaker. All right, next ingredient. I put this one in first, because if you don't put this in first, it's not going to be a muffin. Baking powder. So I put in 5 grams of this, but baking powder is a rising agent. So it causes aeration, so it causes the air to bubble up inside the recipe, and that'll actually give it body. And if you don't have that, you don't have a muffin. You have kind of flat, pancakey things, and they don't taste as good. Now, one of the most important ingredients, designer flavor powder. So, delicious. I think today you can still get it for 40% off with code Wesley. And this is a game changer, because this will decide the flavor of the muffins. So I actually put in 9 grams in this one. And then we add a little bit of stevia just to enhance, you put in the speculoos, but to enhance it a little bit more, you can add a sweetener of your choice, because I'm a sweet tooth with the muffins. I like it to taste good, but it's not really necessary. What gives it the body is going to be the rice flour. Now you can use rice pudding for this, which is basically the same thing, but rice pudding by ESN has more a granule texture like rice grains actually. And this is more of a powder, so with rice pudding you want to blend it up, and then you get this. You get a powder substance. So I'm putting in 110 grams in this meal, and then there's one ingredient remaining. This is Ceylon cinnamon. So Ceylon cinnamon, in comparison to the supermarket cinnamon, is actually better for blood sugar management, and it is no toxin, because if you eat cinnamon from the supermarket, which is cassia cinnamon, every single day, it will cause toxicity in the body. That is not what we want. So now we have all the ingredients ready. I preheated the oven at 180 degrees or 350 Fahrenheit. So make sure to shake up nicely. And now we're going to go to a very important part, which is going to be some dark chocolate. ESN oil spray to make sure it doesn't stick. Just like that. Now, let's pour it in. It can look quite watery, but it's totally fine, as you will see. So you want to fill this up to the very max. Just like that. And by the way, you don't have to use pumpkin, you can use carrot or even cauliflower puree. Just use a vegetable that is kind of sweet. Now we're going to divide this 80% dark chocolate in here a little bit. And this is what I mentioned before, guys. You want to be able to enjoy the off-season. So the oven has been preheated. And it should take around 15, 16 minutes. And hopefully they won't fail, because otherwise I look like quite a fool. So, as these muffins are baking away, I'm going to make the whey drip dip. Yes, do you really think I forgot about the whey drip? This is supposed to be a victory meal, victory muffins, and without a drip, it's not complete. So this is a stracciatella flavor. So anything that's kind of a chocolatey vanilla flavor, I like to choose for these muffins. So as I mentioned, whey drip dip means you use this as kind of the dipping frosting for the muffins when they're done. So even if you happen to overcook your muffins and are a bit dry, this will save you every time, which is why it's a foolproof recipe. So how do you make the whey drip dip? Well, very easily. I put in about 50 grams of whey in here. So now I'm going to put in 45 mils of water. Mix it up with, as I always say, a silicone spoon. So there's going to be 0% wasted of protein at the end. Just like that. So this is the perfect consistency you want. Gonna put this in the fridge a little bit to firm up. A little bit of fresh fruit as well. Not too much though, just a few 100 grams of strawberries. Just gonna put them all in because tomorrow they won't be good anymore. So just put them in here. So what this does is when the muffins are gone and you still have the little container, the bowl with the whey drip dip, you can finish that bowl off with dipping the strawberries in there. That's a solution for you. And now we can wait until those beauties will be done. And they look pretty good, but there's one way to really test it out, and that is the, what do you call this again? The toothpick test. Put it in, and it doesn't come out clean. So I think this warrants maybe, I think 2 more minutes. And they look pretty good. You can see that popping right out. Now the inside is always a little more difficult, but they look to be pretty perfect. And you saw every single step, and you don't have to be a baker or have experience in baking to make deliciously, at least delicious looking muffins, right guys? You gotta be honest about that. And now you want to wait to eat these a little bit, because if they're a little too moist on the inside, if you let them cool down just a little bit, we still want to eat them warm, but not piping hot, because now we can firm up a little bit more to get a better shape, a better bite. So this is a great tip for you guys if you're in a cutting phase or even in a prep. You can create this meal and you automatically will have to wait before eating. So you're waiting for the oven to heat up, for the oven to bake the muffins and to cool them down. So in all that time you can't eat anything because you're literally still making the dish. So that's a great way to extend the time before eating something. And in the off season, if you just plan it ahead, it's still going to be quick enough, but because it's so delicious, it's going to be worth it. And you can put a lot of calories in here if you want very, very easily. So let's let it cool down a little bit and show you how enjoyable they are. Now, before I'm going to dive into this, remember, me and my cook teacher from a university have been working together on a cookbook. So if you want recipes like this and a lot more anabolic, healthy, delicious, easy recipes, make sure to be on the lookout for that cookbook coming out before Christmas, guys. A lot of people have been asking me. Keep watching the videos and keep following me at Wesley Vissers for my stories, because I will be promoting it for sure on there for pre-orders coming out very soon. So that's going to be very exciting. But right now we got to check how these muffins turned out. Okay, so let's take a little piece of it here. Ooh, we got a good one with a little bit of the chocolate. And look, this is what you want, nice and moist, so it's not rubbery at all. And my technique is again just dip it in here, just like that. Oh! Yep. We got it. Yes, let's enjoy this. And this will ensure that the leg gains we made today will be solidified. All right, time for the third meal of the day. Or is it my meal? Maybe it's Laura's and Dexter's meal. They were craving for a typical Dutch sandwich with peanut butter. Hé Lara? Alsjeblieft. Lara, zitten. Yummy. So, it's not time for my next meal yet, but the children and the family and the cameraman all need to eat something, so, and then bring them to bed, and then I'll have my own meal to enjoy. Okay, now that the kids and the family are eating, it's time for my own meal. So now we will make use of this, as I mentioned to you before. And we are making it 5 meals, so I'm increasing the size of the meals. The first thing we're going to do is cut up some vegetables. Now this is always an important part of my meals. So in the off season, I still eat vegetables, but in the contest prep, the vegetable amount will be probably 3 times as much, purely because of the lower carb and the volume they give. So I like to add about 150 grams of vegetables to each of my savory meals, to maybe sometimes 200 grams, depending on how heavy, for example, a bell pepper is happening to be. But I like to combine like 2 or 3 different ones. So here, for example, we have some celery, we have some mushroom, and we have a bell pepper. Now they all have a different color, and that means they contain different phytonutrients, different kind of health benefits. For example, celery, I think had a great source of vitamin C, also a nice source of fiber. It is slightly diuretic, which means that people like to use it before a competition to lose some water. Here we have some brown mushroom, one of the only, I don't even know if you can call it a vegetable, but one of the only food sources that has vitamin D in it naturally. So you cannot get vitamin D from anywhere but the sun, but also from mushrooms like this, which is a special property they have. And it's also just delicious, very low calorie, and it makes your meals that much more tasty. And then we have a bell pepper, one of the nightshade family vegetables. This just tastes very good. Now in the off season, I like to go for like carrots, bell pepper, pumpkin, slightly higher carbohydrate sources in the vegetables, so they contribute a little bit to the carbohydrate count. To the vegetables, I like to add some delicious herbs. I have a micro scale here because in this herb mixture is salt. So I like to measure the salt a little bit as well. Just like that. About 2 grams of salt we have here. Mix it up and let it cook like that. Now normally also I will be having this crock pot filled with rice, golden rice of course, but we are gonna do it a little easier this time with something our friends in Korea brought. This is microwave rice, but it's very clean. It's literally just cooked white rice. You can put it in a microwave and it'll be done within 2 minutes. So I can put that in right now already. And in the meantime, I'm gonna now calculate how much rice I should have in this meal as opposed to dividing it over 6 meals. So I have to kind of calculate it out a little bit. Let's do that right now, and then I'll come back to this meal immediately. All right, calculation done. Let's warm up this protein. I could do it in a microwave, but I like to treat this protein with respect and put in about 230 of this cooked, because it's already cooked obviously. 234, I'll take it. With 100 grams of cooked rice extra will give us what we need. I can use this for the next meal as well, to go along with the microwave rice we just put in. Kaboom, that we do have to warm up. And then it is vitamin time. Once again, omega-3, astragalus, magnesium, apple cider vinegar. This is what it's like. To be a professional bodybuilder, you gotta take that into account every single meal. Keep the health and consistency up. And now it is time for some blueberries. A cup of blueberries a day keeps the doctor away. And that really is true, because blueberries It's one of the healthiest antioxidant fruits out there. You can tell that by the intense color it has. Usually, the more intense of a color that a food item has, the more intense the concentration of the health is in there. If you remember that, you want to put as many colors in your plate as possible, and that will give you a lot of health benefits for sure. Now it's pretty much almost done. So this salt is interesting. I'm going to put this on at the end. It's potassium salt, aka low salt. So this means it has lower sodium, much higher potassium. So you will kind of want to balance sodium and potassium out every day. Vegetables put potassium up higher, so especially if you're eating only chicken and rice, without vegetables at all, you might want to invest, well, first of all, learn to eat the vegetables, but invest in a potassium salt to add some balancing electrolyte into your diet, because it's very good for blood pressure. Not just sodium, but potassium is very important as well. We're once again aiming for about that 2-gram mark, so that we, in combination with every food on this plate, we will have the exact same amount of potassium and sodium in one. Put on the delicious vegetables. Gotta be honest, already looks a lot better than just white rice. And then on top of here, we'll go the pulled beef. Just like that. And if you ever struggle eating your food in the off season, this is a great way to make that easier. Alright, and there we have it. A nice and savory meal, combined with, of course, the blueberries, but this is one of the very easy to digest meals I have every single day, at least twice a day, to make sure my off-season goals will be achieved. And one more little secret I like to add is, let's see, well, normally, like we have like sauces like this, Ultra sauce by ESN, but I'll usually mix it up with a teriyaki sauce. So in here is actually teriyaki sauce with barbecue sauce by ESN. Then I mix it up because the ESN is a bit more better value. But the teriyaki, you know, I don't like barbecue sauce on every single meal. So I like to put a combination of barbecue and teriyaki in just one container, because that tastes pretty good. And then just put it on here. It's a very low calorie sauce. Just makes it very easy to down a meal like this compared to not adding it. So anyway, let's enjoy. Proeven? Wat wil je? Dit?
Ja, een chocola.
Hij denkt dat alles chocola is.
Hier zit hier chocolasaus. Hier.
Nee, dat is teriyaki saus.
Teriyaki.
Doe maar opeten. Ah. Waarom wist ik dat er ging gebeuren?
Mama wil niet lekker.
Dat weet ik. Ik krijg het gelijk weer terug. Alrighty, time for another meal, which will be comparable to the last one. But this one will be a little more interesting, perhaps, in terms of the protein source. For this time I'm using chicken. Chicken from meat up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook this to perfection. And there's a way to do that with a temperature gauge. So I'm using this thing, not sponsored by it at all or anything, I just bought it. It's called a meter. So, you know, meat and a meter to measure the temperature. So this is kind of like an old school probe that people can use like at the barbecue. You just put it in here like this, put it in the thickest part. Then I'm gonna use a little bit of salt right here with some spices to give it some delicious flavor. Add it to here and then put it in the air fryer, just like that. So for the next step I'm gonna need my phone, because this is not just a temperature probe that's analog, so it works by an app. And I'm just showing you guys because I'm very enthusiastic about this. So this is the sending out the signal, as you can see. Keep it close to the probe in there. And then you choose what you're actually preparing. So I'm choosing chicken breast, air fryer. They recommend the temperature it should be. You start it. Then you can see this is the current temperature, 7 degrees Celsius, as it's just coming from the fridge. This is the environment, which is the air fryer temperature, and the goal is 75. So it will give you, before it's actually done, an alarm to turn off the heat source so it can actually cook to perfection. More about that when it's actually done, so that's going to be great. And this is going to be the exact same process as before, vegetables and rice. Choosing a little bit different now. Instead of the celery, we're going to go with some zucchini. And yes, guys, I listened to you. I'm not choosing plastic ones anymore. This is made from a lot of paper, so this is actually kind of like a very sturdy cardboard. I'm using steel or wood, so no more plastic cutting boards for me. And vegetables, I weigh them out, but you know, it's kind of a guesstimate, to be honest. So I'm just putting them on here. So it's about 100 grams of zucchini. I just want at least around 300 to 400 grams of vegetables a day. The same goes for fruits. And then you're pretty much golden in the off season, along with healthy supplements and whole foods in general. You'll be golden. Omega-3, always important. As my meals don't contain a lot of fat, I'm adding them like this. Yep, as you can see, every meal has their fruits. So we have some mandarin and some kiwi with the skin on. Just with the strawberry, I leave the crown or the stem, whatever you want to call it, on. I leave the skin on because this actually contains more vitamins, minerals, fiber, and an enzyme responsible for helping digesting protein compared to the flesh itself. So the skin, leave it on. Don't be afraid to eat it. It's delicious. Just like eating a kiwi without the skin. Trust me. Broccoli and cauliflower left over from previous meals, so might as well add them to the mix. As you can see, 8 more minutes remaining, probably 5, so. But in the meantime, maybe I can tell you, I like to drink a lot of water during the day. One thing that helps me drink a lot of water is this, the Ultra Syrup by ESN. This little bottle you can use for 8 liters of water. Big tip. And now we reached the correct temperature. But now the difficult part is always getting it out without spilling the juices everywhere. With a nice crusty skin, but the inside will be absolutely perfection. Kaboom. And even, guys, yes, I track this sauce as well. Not only the calories, but also the sodium. So that's why I weigh out this sauce at the same time. Always about 30 grams. And we have another beautiful meal to enjoy. A fork, a spoon, another fork to enjoy this meal. Okay, time for the very last meal of the day. I am forced to make another, oh, so torturous meal, the muffins. So I'm gonna adjust the macros a little bit here, putting a little bit more of the rice flour in compared to the other muffin, but it's gonna be pretty much the same thing. Why am I making this meal again? Because normally I would be having rice with salmon, but I noticed that the salmon is still solid frozen, as you can see. So I have this portion out in 200 grams fillet. So normally I would have this salmon with a little bit of extra protein from either chicken or white fish, because I like to bump up the protein in the last meal of the day. And also nowadays the carbs a little bit to be able to sustain the whole night. It keeps me full for longer, And then in the morning I can fast a little bit longer as well, as I like that, because normally I have to bring the kids to school or have a walk before with the kids anyway, so I don't like to have to worry about being hungry for breakfast. So my last meal, also for recovery, is always a bit bigger. But for now, I pretty much macro matched that meal with these muffins. Now, the word muffin might sound unhealthy, but as you can know, and as you saw previously, the ingredients are pretty healthy anyway. So I'm just gonna go through the exact same ingredients a bit quicker. You've already saw that, and then you will very soon see the incredible end result. This time we're gonna go with another good one, black and white vanilla. Always a good combination, kind of like a Oreo cookie, which we all love, of course. Another change to this muffin meal is going with a slightly higher fiber source, oatmeal. Turn on the oven to preheat because we still have a dog to take care of. Now that looks pretty good. Look at that. Well, these are cooling down a little bit. Now we're gonna move over to the mug cake. Let's go for 1 minute. So, that's a huge difference, right, between the oven and the microwave. So the microwave only takes about a minute for one of those cupcakes basically to be ready. And the oven takes about 20 plus minutes. But there's a big difference in the quality of the end product. As you can see, this is a nice golden, kind of crispy top. And it cooks through evenly, so from top to bottom is going to be exactly perfect. In the middle, a little bit of a moisture center. Look at that, guys. Now, once again, if you have trouble eating, and especially at the last meal of the day when you're like, oh, I still got to eat a whole meal. If you can feel like you're having a cheat meal, but the macros, the ingredients are immaculate, wouldn't you rather have that? Yes, it takes a little bit of extra time and effort, but your appetite, your progress, your health, and your body will thank you for it. That is what you call a mug cake. And this is a very easy way to create these. So you have a lot of recipes online for like a snack in between. And usually you only need like an egg or egg whites, a little bit of oatmeal and baking powder, and that's it. And then the way you flavor it is, of course, with flavor powder. But this is a great way to make that happen. So grabbing the whey drip dip. Look at how it's perfectly firmed up in the fridge. So, this was my full day of eating, ending it with golden muffins, of course, with a bang, with my famous whey drip. Hard to beat this. Yeah, all the calories, macronutrients, and also the fiber count are right here. And yeah, this is what I eat to grow, guys. This is what I eat to get better on my leg day. And my coach and I think it is very important to be recovered enough with these calories, but at the same time not get overly fat. As you maybe saw, my conditioning is still pretty good. My weight is about 8 kilos, I think so, above, 8 kilos, 8, 9 kilos above my stage weight, and it's been over 6 weeks already from the Olympia, so that's not bad. Yeah. And I think it's much better to stay lean in the off season as long as you keep progressing in the gym with strength and with your pictures that you're taking visually. Anyway, that's enough talk. I'm gonna enjoy this. Thank you super very much for watching. And if you made it all the way until the end of the video, you can use code Wesley for the Black Friday deal, as it's not 50% off, but right now 70% off on all vintage genetics clothing, guys. So take your chance. This is almost the end of the Black Friday madness, and don't forget to stay